There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie in our society.
So I've been pretty happy with, for the most part, with the Department of Justice and what Pam Bondi has done these last 8.5 months. There has not been a lot that I've been very upset about. There has not been a lot that I've been disappointed about. Obviously, the 2 or 3 really big things that come into mind are the just complete blowing of the Epstein stuff and the inability to go after any of these judges who continue to just act like they're the president and not the guy that we all elected to be president. Those are the 2 really big headlights that are annoying and make me, really upset with her and her Justice Department. But this is the thing that makes me probably the angriest of everything. Pam Bondi goes on this podcast, the Kate Miller podcast, who, I'll be honest, I've never heard of Kate Miller. I don't know if she's some big podcast name. If you go to her YouTube channel, it's like 5,000 people. So I don't understand how she interviewed the top attorney in the United States, but maybe she asked. Maybe Pam Bondi said yes. So there you go. But the thing that really annoys me about this is Pam Bondi sits there and says, there's free speech and then there's hate speech. And that's not true. That's categorically false. And she knows it. Look, I have been a stout free speech absolutionist, and I've been a stout proponent of this administration and what Donald Trump is doing. But this is wrong. Pam Bondi is talking about going after people for hate speech. And that's not a right talking point. That's a left talking point. That's communism, not republicanism. So let's look into what the Supreme Court, the arbiter of the United States Constitution, has said about this. First off, there is no this phrase hate speech, these 2 words, if 2 words can be a phrase, there is no definition of hate speech. Okay, and that's the thing I hate the most about using the term hate speech is there's no such thing. Now, there is speech that is not protected under the First Amendment, sort of like incitement to lawless action. Now, what does that mean? That would be if John goes out onto the podium and starts yelling, let's go get him right now, and leads the mob. That is incitement to lawless action. There's true threats, which at the very simple level is basically going up to someone and saying, I am going to kill you right now in the next 3 seconds. That's a true threat. And then there's fighting words. And fighting words are kind of the more narrowly tailored. It's basically face-to-face insult that is likely to provoke imminent violence. Now, the problem with fighting words is it is very narrowly applied, and from what I could tell, hasn't been used in like the last 60 years. Fighting words comes from the 1942 case Chaplansky v. New Hampshire. And like I said, hasn't been used in like 50 years. So for her to sit here and say that there's free speech and then there's hate speech is just wrong. And to use it in connection with Charlie Kirk's death, I think is even more wrong. I think what you see here is the top attorney in the United States misunderstanding what she needs to do in this moment. She needs to go after the leaders that are promoting this violence, not the people sitting there saying, I didn't like Charlie Kirk, or I don't like this governor, or I don't like this senator, or stuff like that. That she's sitting there talking about this anti-Semitic problem going on in our colleges, which I think you'd be a fool to say there isn't one. But to sit there and equate yelling at someone in the free speech zone of Columbia University to the assassination of a activist is ludicrous, in my opinion. We don't want to see our Justice Department arresting people just to make a point. We want to see our Justice Department going after the leaders of these cabals that think it is their job to dictate to us, the American people, what we can and cannot do and say. So, Pam Bondi, you're wrong. This is not the America I know. This is not the America we want to be. You need to backtrack this. This is wrong, and you know it. Speaking as an attorney, speaking as someone who went through con law, I know what you were taught. For the most part, I mean, you were in law school 40 years ago, so a little different. But I know what you were taught, and you were not taught that. And the Supreme Court has said so. So I don't know what to say beyond that. Guys, thank you all so much for being here. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Follow me over on Twitter at KingsAdvisors_. And we'll see you again next time. Peace out.